Hello dear students, welcome in this online session of 10th standard SS, and the lesson which we are going to carry forward today is the same lesson which I started in the previous lecture of my part 1. This is lecture number part 2 and the lesson's name is, as you can check it out, that is the economic liberalization and globalization. Now you need to go on the page number that is 128 and 130 where we can understand the basic theory which is actually given on the page number. Now as we went and we just studied the basic lecture of my first part, in which I made you understand about how the privatization is helping us, how the globalization is helping us, liberalization is also helping us, and also I made you to understand that what is the concept of economical policy related to liberty and global challenges too here. So now we'll be moving to the next topic, that is the globalization. Now how it is working, which kind of advantages are there, which kind of disadvantages are there, that also we'll study today. So just you need to focus that today's topic is actually the globalization, and other topics are also there. Now if the question arises in your mind, what is globalization? Okay, then the very simple basic formula is that globalization is the process to connect the country trade wise, economically, and also we can say worldwide. We can connect with anyone, we can trade, we can invest, we can get the partners also, and we can also become more powerful regarding any kind of group of, we can say, industries, any kind of category of production of the materials, and many kinds of other kinds of things too here. Therefore we can say that okay, as a result this is actually a flow of goods, service, and also technology from one place to another worldwide. And apart from that, detail wise we can say that labor is also easily exchanged across to the world only by the help of globalization. So now we'll be actually going deep internal with the today's topic, that is the globalization. So this is very reliable policy of the government which is actually given to us. Now in the globalization we can say that there are basic other things too which we can actually focus on that. As I made you understand that globalization is actually taken due to the basic two factors. It means that following improvements can be taken out with the exchange of globalization, which can be regarded towards the removal of the obstacles also. It means that we can trade between two nations. So that's how we can say trade between two nations. Okay, trade between two nations. Apart from that we can say most amount of the free exchange can be also done, labor of the exchange also, and many other different worldwide we can say exchange the labors, we can get the labors, we can give the labors also, and furthermore it also creates the effect of the globalization. So if we focus on these two topics we will also get the effect of globalization. What is the effect of globalization? See, mixed globalization, if you talk about in the country like India, which is already holding and ruling one of the mixed economical market system, then we can say that Indian economy is somehow advanced, and it is actually going on the advanced level also due to the globalization, but somehow it also creates the disadvantage too here. So we can say that generally in the term of globalization the policy is dealing with the advantage also and the disadvantage too here. So after that we'll be moving towards the topic of, we can say, advantage. Now this advantage towards the globalization will be also creating, like we are going to the trade and commerce, and now advantage, and then advantage will be again going towards the disadvantage too. That is the disadvantage here. So we need to focus on basic two topics. Now what is advantage, my dear students? See, in the policy of globalization you can understand that advantage is that foreign exchange or foreign direct investment, FDI. Remember this thing here, that is advantage related to FDI. Okay, that is foreign direct investment is done, and it is actually encountered inside the globalization into the industrialization also. So we are actually earning the good amount of money also as well we invest to here. Now goods are produced at the developed countries can be easily obtained in across the world. So goods which are produced at one place can be reaching to the another corner of the world. Then third topic is that the globalization is also developing in the countries like India, which is actually a developing country, and which is also making India to withstand with the other country in the competition on the international level. So that is also the globalization, but it also consists some amount of disadvantage too here. Now what can be the disadvantage of the globalization? We can say that only just focusing on one side of the coin is not the right one. We need to focus on the both side of the coin here. Therefore we can say expected success has not been attained till now, and somehow we can say finding solutions for the problems are also not approved well, and that's how we can say poverty is also leading excess in the India and in the other countries also. Therefore we can say due to globalization, though we import the machineries and the technique, but still the poverty is not removed out, because unemployment also is generated due to that kind of heavy amount of machineries, electronic machineries, and also the machinery which can be only somehow we can say working due to CNC coding, that is computer and other codings and all. So basically we are actually moving to the level where country is developing, but the poverty is also developing along with that. Then developing countries are not acquiring the benefits of this also in the export and import too, so which they have to acquire, it is not happening. So this is also one of the basic fundamental we can say truth of disadvantage of the globalization. Third one says that large industries have acquired more benefits with the small industries, and the small industries are about to be vanished out. Everybody needs to invest their money inside the large kind of the industries. So the small basic industries like cotton industry, sugar industry, paper industries and all, they are actually about to be extinct from the earth. So that's also can be right out here. So therefore we can say there are some kinds of advantage and the disadvantage of the globalization policy. Sorry. Now this is not it. Have you ever thought that how this kinds of whole of the system is working out, who is behind them? Okay, you need to focus that actually if this kinds of systems are working, then who is actually behind that? See my dear student, World Trade Center, or you can say World Trade Organization is actually behind that. Now how the World Trade Organization is working? Actually you need to go on with the zero basic level of the startup of the World Trade of the organization, WTO. So now we'll be moving towards the next topic, that is WTO. Okay, what is WTO? See, generally it was established on the January 1995. Yes, that's right here, 1st January we can say, 1st Jan 1995. Its headquarters are located in all across the world, or we can say in the different part of the world, but generally we can call it out that this World Trade Center actually proved to come for the we can say need of the investors, for the need of the country, and for the need of the boosting of the employment too here. Therefore we can say the member of the nations of United Nations, the main leaders who organized this here, and its headquarters also located in Geneva, that is in Switzerland. Now its objectives are to be following some of the different rules and regulations, and according to that, if we follow that kind of rules and regulations, according to that we can say generally everybody must be profiting, every state of nation can be profiting, and that's why you can say that okay, these kinds of WTO, World Trade Organization, was started here. Now what are the objectives of the World Trade Organization? We need to focus here. Objectives of that. Objectives consist of, we can say my dear student, it is there to remove the obstacles influencing the global trade. Whatever the problems are coming in the global trade relation, that is actually removed by WTO. Also to remove the protection policy given to the industries of the country for the foreign trade here. If the countries are able, they are actually able to get more amount of food, get more amount of crops production and all, then they can trade in the global worldwide. And there are whatever the rules and regulations are, that all rules and regulations are actually managed by the WTO. And the third one says that to build up the good coordination between the global trade policy and economically friendly relationship also with the other countries, the WTO is working for that here. It means that to build up the great relationship in the trading business with the overseas partners. And the fifth point means the fourth one is that to solve the trade related disputes to arising in the world. If two countries are continuously quarreling relating one material or one trade, basically WTO can be working as the parental court of justice there, and WTO can be also helping that out here. But the question is coming that how WTO is working, कैसे ये काम करता है. So we need to understand the functions of that also. So I'll write that is how it is functioning. So here we need to understand functions of WTO. Okay, now in the function category we need to understand to set up a program required structure is needed, and that is actually implemented by WTO by making agreement related to the multinational trade, multinational factories, companies and all the consignment the WTO is working. Also we can say that the WTO is playing a vital role in obtaining the negotiations between, you can say, multinational trade and the company also. Means WTO will generally get assumption or generally take one of the leech, or you can say it will take generally a confirmation from one country's company and then it can give that to another also, so that they both companies and the countries can be colliding, or you can say collaborating together, and they can be exchanging their raw materials, food, crop, machinery, technology, and whatever the labors are there. So that's how we can say it is working. Now in the different nation we can say the policy can be changing, my dear. So to observe the suggestion, required improvements are also done by WTO. So that's how this WTO is functioning and working. Now if this kinds of systematic theory can be understood today, then we should also understand one kind of thing here. Okay, what is the role of WTO in Indian economy? What is the role of WTO in the Indian economy? Because as you can say that functions are there, okay, objectives are there, and mainly we can say generally all the things are given there inside the WTO, but how it is working and what is the impact of WTO on the Indian customer, on the Indian department, on the impact of economy, that we need to understand. Okay, India is actually we can say India is actually the lots of amount of people, or it is one of the number of people or the religion also. So therefore the WTO is actually working since in the inception with the India. So we can say what will be the impact on the organization of India or on the organization of the internal trade of India. Let's check it out here. So first of all, to check it out, we need to understand what is contribution of India towards the trade regarding the norms and conditions of WTO. So I would like to share you, my dear student, that India contributes world trade around 5% of export, and that has been also increased tremendously due to the increase of international policies, trade and help of WTO. Therefore we can say WTO has actually increased accordingly 1% every time towards the export trade of India. And that's how we can say, being a member of WTO, export of ready-made garments, clothes, India has been increasing well, and that's how we are getting the best amount of money also as a source of exchange also, and other employment too here. Therefore we can say as an employment, or we can say as a member of the WTO, India is able to increase the export of agriculture too, as we know that India is a country of agrarian people. Agrarian land means agricultural land. So therefore we can say due to in the increase of export, pasture, and also we can say other things have been also improved well, and pressure on important has reduced, and foreign investment has been increased. So in the increase of the foreign exchange and policy, WTO is also working out here. Dekho, my dear student, one thing you need to understand: how to identify a country is profitable in its own trading policy or not, or how to identify a country is prosperously working for this people, or the country is actually getting all the good livelihood for the people or not. It is very simple basic calculative formula that how to identify a country is rich or poor. You need to just check out that if a country is exporting more and importing less, it means that the country is actually having the good grade of the category of industries, labor, policy, rules, regulations, raw materials and energy resources too here. But if the country is asking for the material extra, the country is importing, obviously the country's economical condition must be deteriorating in some years. That's how we can say that the country is not able to produce its own material, it needs to get from the other sources, and that's how we can say economical level of the country is also going to be dropped down. So that's how we can say this is the part number 2, page number 129, 130 and 133, 34, 35, and I'm making you to understand about the economical policy regarding the World Trade Organization also. So this is the systematic theory, okay, my dear student, this is the systematic theory which is working in India according to WTO, and WTO is helping in India also. And if you go more further, then we can say that we need to generally get the sustainable development by the help of WTO. If the country is actually the country is progressing, then we need to also take the sustainable development. What is a sustainable development? Sustainable development means a development which can be sustained for the future generation, from the present generation, and was in the past generation also. Therefore we can say that the present generation, without compromising ability and other kinds of things, we are using these kinds of things, and we need also, and as we do our work also relating all the natural resources and all, but we need to understand that these kinds of resources must be obtaining a special optimus we can say optimus rules and regulations and theory with the therapy also, so that upcoming generation should not be lacking in their life about electricity, water, road facilities, parking areas, we can say vehicles, petroleum and all. So we need to generate the we can say employment also in that way. We need to also go with the, we can say like to save the earth also, and also we need to understand what is the rules and regulations and what are the benefits to follow them. So we actually need to understand what is going to create problem in the future should be solved now. Therefore, we can say effect of nature near the human habitants, man created whole of the cover related to environment, the cover of destruction. So in this way, speed with the present generation is imported, or we can say speed with the present generation is actually in uncontrolled way, and we are enjoying all the things, but in the upcoming future we'll be not having this kinds of resources. So we can say there can be a tremendous change in the future according to the natural resources, including the natural resources, because we are actually wasting the natural resources. So we need to save the natural resources, we need to develop the good amount of employment, we need to also go with the sustainable development, and therefore we can say upcoming future can be bright. So that's how this lesson is all regarded with the general theory of our concept syllabus of the 16th lesson, economic policy of liberalization and globalization to here. Now I hope this much topic is clear. Okay, sustainable development is also clear. Now we're moving to the next topic, that is the following strategy. Now what is the following strategy? The strategies are there given, and that should be adopted to conserve and preserve the natural resources. Now we are actually taking a turn from globalization, liberalization, okay, towards the basic concept of theory related to the concept of, we can say like save nature. Now how we can save the nature? Saving nature is a general thing. It is an important thing, very vital thing, very resourceful thing, but how we can save? I will give 2 to 3 points, rest of you can go by yourself here. Therefore we can say that the resources which are renewable must be cultivated from they are going to be from where they are going to be extinct. So it must be cultivated, like for example cultivation of the farm, forest, water resources, check dams, well, tube wells, lake, stream and all, they must be checked well, they must be filled well, they must be planted well, and also we can say rainwater harvesting, watershed development must be also done there. So we need to use this kinds of coal, petroleum or whatever products are there into a judicial manner. It means that whenever we need that you should use, whenever you don't need you should not use that kind of thing, and you should not make a mode of wastage of that kind of product and productive material, because these kinds of products which are actually available less in the atmosphere, less in the environment, less in the crust of the earth or less near to the core are very valuable, and they are not in an abundance amount. So you need to go for that. Okay, second thing says that industrial location must be checked before plantation of an industry, so that we can say the transportation should not be also damaging the local area as well. We can say sincere attempt much should be made so that an eco-friendly environment must be developed out. So that's how we can say the resources for the following Environmental Protection Act can be also focused out in this lesson, which is actually liberalization, globalization and the economical policies here. Now this is not it, my dear student. We can say that if you go in more further, then we can say some of the steps must be taken, and obviously the steps should be taken. So what can be steps should be taken? Dekho, now we are going to study about the steps. Now which kind of steps are this? These steps are to protect the environment. Okay, steps to protect the environment. Steps to protect the environment, ENVIRONMENT, that is environment. It means that according to the general theory, if you take in the past, then we can say in the 1972 at Stockholm in Sweden, there was the first Earth conference was held regarding the health of Earth. It means that regarding the Natural Resources Protection Act, and that's how we can say after that from the time today we can say camps have been also organized. At the time also the camps were organized for the Protection Act and all, and at the time at the global level the meeting was done in which it was decided from the different steps of the Environment Protection Act must be configured. It also said that India was actually somehow involved in that kind of activity to save the environment. Today also we save the environment, and literally we can say that the government is also making some of the different steps, efforts and all the things to save the environment. Some of I'll read for you. That is, the first one, it can be said that information regarding the pollution is also given and it also presented every time from the different nation. Syllabus consisting of the save environment topics and all awareness programs are also somehow organized. Billboards are also showing you some kinds of things related to the save environment. Campaignings are done, volunteers are also there, and lots of things we are doing here. Apart from that, we can say central and the state pollution control board have been also established to check out the central pollution from the states and also from the capital of the nation. So that's how we can say from the Delhi also it is checked out, from the Gujarat also it is checked out. Every state is having a special departmental theory which can be focusing of that state's garbage dumping agencies and also where they are dumping the garbage. Are they recycled or not? What is the amount of chimneys? How many chimneys are working in that active area? How many industries are there? Which kind of compound chemical gas is coming out? What kind of sewage treatment are doing or not? Everything is focused out. Therefore, we can say 5th June is also celebrated as the Environmental Day. Must remember the date. That is the 5th June. Let me write so that you can understand here. So therefore, we can say that here, my dear student, that is 5th June. Is celebrated as the World Environment Day. Not only this much, it is declared in the worldwide, not only in India, and therefore we can say Indian government also has passed an Air Pollution Act control under, we can say, year 1981, and also the vehicles which are running under the Indian government rules, they must be clearing their PUC, that is pollution under control checkup. So that's how we need to ban the vehicles which are more than 10-year-old, and they need to be we can say retired also. And furthermore, if a person or an industry or a group of people or any sector is polluting the atmosphere by cutting the trees, by doing deforestation, by implementing the more and more chimneys and all, and by polluting the nature, atmosphere, environment, they should be banning their industry as well. That person should be also kept inside the jail for the punishment of couple of hours, at least couple of hours, so that he or she can understand what is the value of environment. So my dear student, this lecture was till here only. I hope you got the proper basic knowledge, and you also boosted up your knowledge regarding atmosphere, regarding environment, regarding global policy, regarding liberalization, privatization and other kinds of the policies too here. We'll see you later. We'll meet in the other lecture, in the brand fresh new lectures of some other lesson. Till then, you can take care, keep revising. Jai Hind.